The history of the band, real, in a nutshell, started off being, I think, what you described as a fake jazz band.
Yeah, I made that mistake, yeah.
But okay, but it was a jazz band of that. Not everybody in the band had chops, intentionally.
Some of them, yeah.
Some of them intentionally. All right, I'll let you go there. But and then eventually it evolved from out of that scene, to a band that really could play and really could do a wide variety of musical and textural things. What happens when you reach that one point where it's kind of tipped over and you're going, well, first it was ironic and a little tongue-in-cheek, and now we got to be sort of serious about it.
Nah, because I always had kind of serious musical aspirations, but also just feelings, serious music, like, you know, things that moved me in a deep way, and I wanted to also express that kind of. But then when we started, it was punk times, and jazz didn't make any sense, and the things that were really exciting were the punk things, and I kind of sort of fell into that crowd, and it kind of helped me to figure out, because jazz just didn't make any sense. It came to New York, and it was like, you go see some jazz, it was like either really boring, and people were eating, you know, while people were playing, which I found really, you know, embarrassing for the musicians. And then I saw things like James Chance and a bunch of stuff that just kind of blew me away, and its irreverence and its energy, and so we kind of incorporated the two things. But then we had this very, very painful period where as the music started to get more serious, and we kind of became almost boring, and then it kind of came out the other side. But that's, you know, a long time ago.
You've done a lot, from the Jim Jarmusch films to Get Shorty, Doing the Face, what was there was another one, Manny and Lowe, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Are those written out like a score? Are they scored and improvised around the score? Or?
Pretty much they're written out, because you got to, especially with the Hollywood ones, you got to time it out. You know, it's like they've got to, you know, you got to get to this from this frame to this frame, and you got to time it out. You got to figure out the thing. Yeah, it's pretty much they're written out. Manny and Lowe is pretty loose, but the lower budget and kind of the more human the director, the easier it is to kind of, like with Jarmusch, it was just all soft ins and soft outs, so it was like pretty much just sort of play the picture kind of thing. But some of these, it's just like click track. You got this
exactly.
click track.
So is that a whole different entity, doing the score? There's scores, live shows, and records.
Yeah, it's a
Are
completely...
they like three completely?
Well, making a record is somewhere in between the live show and doing, because there's a certain amount of just like the front part of your brain that you use. I mean, I write the music for film scores with my eyes open, and I write the music for the band with my eyes closed, and I play with the band with my eyes closed, and in the studio you tend to play with your eyes open. It's like, and I don't know how, I mean, you know, there's also the thing with the film scores where they pay the bills that makes it possible to do the band, so that's always a kind of a real consideration too, you know.
Next song is called She Changed the Shape of My Pants, but Not Forever.
week on sessions.
Occur during your live performances. Please welcome Phish.
It's easy sometimes when you just coast along, but like it or not, something always seems to go wrong. Sometimes people build you up so they can knock you down. Sometimes they will have you there 'cause they need someone around. Perhaps you'll receive invitations for tea. Perhaps you will laugh and you'll make them all smile. Or maybe you'll join them 'cause it had to be. Perhaps you'll forget that you forgot for a while. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. 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 Whippets they dance in a curly Q dance. Pulses and ringing and campfire chants. A ritual drumming, although at first glance you thought you could run, but you won't take a chance. It's not an experience if they can't bring someone along. They hang out emotions, they bounce inside, they peck at the ground and they strut out of stride. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside. Birds of a feather are flocking outside.
your taping policy, which some people will be familiar with, but for other people, they'll think, what's going on here? They're allowing people to essentially make bootlegs. And to some people, they might think that's the record company would just go nuts. This is going to undercut album sales, blah, blah, blah.
They didn't love it. I mean, but it's been something we've been doing for years, and it was when it got to a point where we got onto a major label, it just felt like I think it just didn't feel like a right thing to do.
To cut it out.
To cut it out to the fans, and also I think for years it had just been free advertising for the band. I mean, especially in your earlier stages.
There's a great example of that. We did our first road trip was out to Colorado. We did 7 or 8 nights at this club called the Roma in Telluride, and we drove, 40 or 50 hours in a van and just played every night. And those shows were all taped, and there was, I think, probably between 8 and 15 people, the same 8 and 15 people that came every night.
Yeah.
And
they were doing that drive too, then.
Yeah, well, they were local. They kind of came down the first night, and we were doing, strange things on stage, where we'd switch instruments and do little, one-act plays and stuff. Anyway, these shows all got taped, and then we left. A year or 2 later, we came back to Colorado, and we had an audience that, because of these tapes that had spread, that they were familiar with all our songs, not just the ones that were on the album, and it enabled us to continue playing those kind of shows. You don't have to be selling an album. You're just playing whatever you want to play. So it's been a big help to us.
one of your Halloween concerts some years back, you decided to surprise the fans, and you did the Beatles' White Album, I think, top to bottom.
Yep.
Most of the audience didn't know this was coming. They didn't.
No, yeah, we kept it pretty good.
Yeah. But of course, the next year they were expecting something like that.
Right.
And I think next year you did the Quadrophenia record.
Mm-hmm.
And then you did a record that I was involved with, which was kind of a surprise for me, too. And, well, it's kind of ambitious. And it's, what made you decide to do that?
We did a show in somewhere down south about a year before that first Halloween show. And because we have this habit of mixing up the set lists, we thought it would be kind of a shock to play our own album, which was Hoist, the album, exactly as it, you know, normally we improvise and everything. So for one set, it was the most shocking thing we could do. So we
Actually play the album in its entirety.
So we played the whole album top to bottom exactly as it lay on plastic. And afterwards, we were talking to some fans, and we were jokingly boasting, oh, we'll play any album ever recorded. And that gave us the idea that the next Halloween, well, let's do that as a musical costume.
Having to get inside another band's head like that, which
You know, it's
amazing.
You don't know how it's going to affect you or how it's going to, what you're going to pull away from it. But each time we did this with the Beatles' White Album, you know, obviously the beautiful songs that they wrote and so many of them, the melodies and the orchestration, we really tried to get the orchestration down between the four instruments as best we could. You know, and the next year we did the Who album, and it was sort of playing in we're in Rosemont Horizon in Chicago, which is a big arena, and sort of playing a Who album in an arena, it gives you a sense of, oh, man, you know, these guys really...
They were writing for this venue.
Yeah, exactly. And then when we did Remain in Light, it may have had, in some ways, the biggest effect on us, because I think we really learned the grooves. We really tried to get inside the grooves that were on the album, and I know for me personally, I took so much away from that, and the sort of groove-oriented playing that we've done in the last few years, you know, repetition, pulling things out, putting it back, all that sort of thing. A lot of it was from learning that.
It becomes a study, you know, meditation. So we're listening to the album a lot during the fall before Halloween and practicing it, and like you said, getting in the heads of the people who made it without knowing them necessarily.
Right.
And so we come away with a lot. You know.
We spent a year in your head. Thank you.
I'm up, and I can take what you give, and I'm here, but I don't want you to live with me, 'cause all I want is a taste for free. I'm down, and I will drag you along and around, until you burst into song and unwind, and leave your new life behind for a while. 'Cause I can see through the light. I can see through the light. I'm down, and I will
Check out the Sessions website. The address is here on your screen, www.sessions@west54th.com. Rufus Wainwright sings love songs. Yes, truly unique songs that mix elements of Beach Boys pop with the drama of opera and the sadness of Cole Porter. Try to imagine that. He's toured solo, but this is one of his first performances with a band. Please welcome Rufus Wainwright.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4.